Curry need to grow up. Steve Harvey has been on stage since 2015.
We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit.
They say the bigger the star, the harder the crash, and what's unfolding around Beyoncé and Jay-Z right now doesn't look like a stumble. It looks like a complete unraveling. This isn't just another celebrity scandal or recycled gossip about Jay-Z's past cheating. This is a chain reaction involving a buried pregnancy allegation, an assault claim that links him to one of hip-hop's most dangerous figures, and a moment that forces Beyoncé, of all people, to stand at the crossroads between protecting her empire and confronting an ugly truth. What makes it even more chilling is that none of this actually started recently. The first crack appeared 7 years ago at a forgotten party, sparked by a woman everyone dismissed until the internet suddenly stopped laughing and started listening. Now people are calling it the end of the Carters, but this goes deeper than a marriage in trouble. This is the kind of story that rewrites legacies and recontextualizes everything we thought we knew. And here's the question no one wants to say out loud. What if Beyoncé didn't stay because of love, money, or power, but because of fear? Because the man she built an empire with may not just be unfaithful. He may be something far darker. And the most unsettling part is that the signs haven't been hidden at all. They've been sitting in plain sight the entire time.
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact.
Now let's talk about the bombshell rumor setting the internet on fire, because this one hits at the very core of the Carter image. Word spreading through DMs, gossip circles, and online forums claims that Lori Harvey, yes, Steve Harvey's stepdaughter, long linked to powerful men from Michael B. Jordan to Diddy, is allegedly pregnant, and even more explosively that Jay-Z is being whispered as the father. If true, it would shatter the carefully built myth of the man who branded himself as Beyoncé's untouchable king, the symbol of legacy, loyalty, and survival after Lemonade. The idea that the same man who rapped about growth and redemption could be tied to a woman young enough to be his daughter's peer is exactly why this story refuses to stay buried. This isn't being treated like a throwaway tabloid headline. It's the kind of rumor that starts quietly in private messages, gains traction in influencer circles, and then erupts into a full-blown online frenzy before anyone can shut it down. And history tells us why people are paying attention. When scandals brush up against the Carters, they don't fade away. They escalate, forcing questions no amount of silence or prestige can fully erase.
Her mother is 54 years old. Her mother is 5 years older.
Here's where the story spirals from messy into outright disturbing, because this isn't just about Lori Harvey and Jay-Z anymore. It circles straight back to Diddy. The same Diddy now sitting behind bars, facing human trafficking charges that have rocked the industry, is the common thread tying it all together. A recent lawsuit alleges that back in 2000, a 13-year-old girl was assaulted at one of Diddy's parties, with Jay-Z not only present but allegedly involved. A claim Jay's camp has fiercely denied, calling it extortion and defamation. Still, the timing is impossible to ignore. Just as those allegations resurface, whispers about a Lori Harvey pregnancy explode online, stacking scandal on top of scandal in a way that feels less like coincidence and more like a long-delayed reckoning. And the Lori connection itself isn't new. It traces back to 2019 and that infamous Roc Nation brunch photo. Lori smiling close to Jay-Z while Beyoncé stood nearby. An image that sent the Bayhive into a frenzy and flooded Lori's page with warning shot B emojis. Lori played it cool at the time, tweeting that she was part of the Bayhive herself, brushing it off as harmless. But viewed now, through the lens of lawsuits, jail cells, and collapsing reputations, that moment reads less like innocent celebrity mingling and more like ominous foreshadowing. A snapshot from a world where power, proximity, and silence were already quietly colliding.
I love the fact that we work in an industry where we get to meet people that we actually are fans of. We don't become people who don't have special celebrities to them because we work in entertainment. Like,
We love certain people too.
We love certain people, and Beyonce is definitely probably the one and only at that level for me.
And let's talk about the Beyhive for a moment, because their reaction back then wasn't just fandom, it was a coordinated force. These are the same fans who turned Becky with the good hair into a cultural landmark, who analyzed Lemonade frame by frame like evidence in a trial, and who have spent years guarding Beyoncé's image with near-militant devotion. So when they saw Lori Harvey, young, beautiful, and dangerously well-connected, standing a little too close to Jay-Z, they didn't shrug it off. They mobilized. Comment sections were locked, tweets vanished, and a quiet digital purge followed. In the Beyhive's world, loyalty isn't optional. It's enforced. And Jay-Z has always been the fragile link in that chain. The man who cheated, lied, and forced Beyoncé to turn betrayal into brilliance while he played the role of the redeemed husband. So when the pregnancy rumor surfaced, it didn't land as gossip, it landed as betrayal. Not just of Beyoncé, but of the narrative fans have spent years protecting.
A blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away."
But here's the thing about Jay-Z. He's always been a master of reinvention. The dealer turned rapper, rapper turned mogul, mogul turned billionaire. A man who transformed a stabbing charge into legend and infidelity into a carefully packaged redemption arc. So when the assault allegation surfaced and his name appeared in a lawsuit alongside Diddy's, his response was vintage Jay, firm denial, strategic outrage, and a polished performance of wounded innocence. He called the claims heinous, accused the lawyer of blackmail, and even invoked his children, speaking about the pain of having to explain it all to Blue Ivy. A move that felt less like vulnerability and more like precision. But while Jay was crafting his statement, the internet was doing what it always does, connecting dots. What emerged wasn't just shock, but a pattern. The focus snapped back to that 2000 party, where a now-grown woman alleges she was drugged, assaulted, and permanently scarred, claiming Jay-Z wasn't just present but involved. His team dismissed it as a shakedown, a cash grab from a lawyer known for chasing powerful men. And maybe that's true, but the problem is context. These aren't isolated whispers attached to a clean slate. Diddy's homes have been raided, his trial threatens a life sentence, and multiple women have accused him of eerily similar crimes. And through it all, Jay-Z hasn't just been nearby. He's been Diddy's closest ally for decades, which makes the silence, the loyalty, and the timing impossible to ignore.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time. Like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah.
The collaborations, the parties, the public displays of brotherhood. These two didn't just move in the same circles. They were the circle. Which is why when the lawsuit landed and Jay-Z's name appeared right beside Diddy's, the real question stopped being, did he do it? And shifted to, what else has been hidden this whole time? That's where the Lori Harvey pregnancy rumor detonates, because this isn't really about a baby, it's about a pattern. A man whose entire career unfolded around access, temptation, and repeated infidelity, now suddenly linked to a scandal so dark it makes every past mistake look trivial. And then there's Beyoncé. Not just a wife, but a global brand. The embodiment of empowerment, Black excellence, and feminist triumph. A woman who turned personal pain into a cultural empire. So when whispers spread that her husband may have impregnated another woman, not just anyone, but someone tied directly to Diddy, the epicenter of hip-hop's most explosive scandal, the stakes become existential. At that point, it's no longer a private betrayal, it's a crossroads. Does she stand by the man she built an empire with? Or does she step away before his gravity pulls everything she's built down with him?
Film itself, I call him the normal, regular guy, the simple guy. He kind of won your heart over. How does that relate to how you are personally as a person, and for a person like that to actually win your heart over?
All it takes is a conversation, which is exactly the way that love began in the movie. It just took a
Now let's confront the elephant in the room. Lemonade. Because if there's one thing Beyoncé has taught us, it's that nothing she does is accidental. That album wasn't just music. It was a declaration, a carefully crafted public confession of Jay-Z's infidelity, a masterclass in transforming private pain into cultural power. And it worked flawlessly. The world rallied around her, elevating her from superstar to symbol, the woman who survived betrayal and emerged untouchable. But symbols are only as strong as the narratives we attach to them, and right now, that narrative is shifting from triumph to complicity. If the latest allegations are true, if Jay-Z was involved in something far darker, even criminal, then Lemonade wasn't just an expression of heartbreak. It could have been a cover-up. And then there's the infamous elevator incident. Solange versus Jay-Z in 2014. A fight so explosive it instantly became legend. We've all assumed it was about infidelity, the accepted story. Jay cheats, Beyoncé forgives, the empire endures. But what if it wasn't that simple? What if Solange saw something no one else did? Something far worse than a lover's betrayal. Something even Beyoncé couldn't control, spin, or contain.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
Here's the unvarnished truth about the Carters. They've spent years meticulously controlling the narrative. Every scandal, every rumor, every crisis has been curated, packaged, and sold back to the public as part of the myth of Beyoncé and Jay-Z. But this isn't just another story about cheating. It's an assault allegation, a pregnancy rumor, and a link to a man who has come to symbolize the darkest corners of the music industry. Beyoncé isn't just a wife here. She's a mogul, a global icon built on empowerment, on lifting women up, on shaping a generation. So when whispers swirl about what she knew, whether she turned a blind eye or whether she prioritized empire over truth, the question becomes, does she double down or step away before the house of cards collapses? And make no mistake, this isn't only about Beyoncé and Jay-Z. It's about a system that allowed men like Diddy and Jay-Z to operate untouchable, to rise while their darkest actions remained whispers. That system is finally cracking under its own weight, because power only works as long as the truth stays buried. And right now, the truth is everywhere.
And we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
So where does that leave us? A pregnancy rumor about to explode, an assault allegation that refuses to die, a marriage that has always felt more like business than love, and a carefully curated brand built on the idea that Beyoncé is untouchable. But what if she's not? What if, despite her power, influence, and iconic status, she's just like the rest of us, caught in a story she didn't write with a man who may finally be too toxic even for her? This isn't just a scandal. It's the unraveling of a marriage, a legacy, and the myth that the Carters are invincible, because the higher you climb, the harder the crash, and right now they seem in freefall. Enter the Diddy connection, which transforms this from rumor to full-blown conspiracy. These weren't casual friends. They shared parties, power, and secrets that festered in the shadows. Remember the 2000 lawsuit where a 13-year-old girl claimed she was led to a bedroom after being given a drink, with Jay-Z allegedly involved? While lawyers scream blackmail or cash grabs, the pattern can't be denied. Diddy's parties were notorious, sometimes dangerous, and Jay-Z wasn't merely a guest. He co-hosted, performed, and celebrated as the horrors allegedly unfolded. The Rock Nation brunch in 2019, where Lori Harvey smiled at Jay while Beyoncé watched from a distance, and Diddy's infamous all-white parties, reportedly targeting underage girls, weren't just optics. They were public displays of the system's dark side. And the industry, they all knew and looked away, protecting careers over morality. It wasn't just Jay-Z and Diddy. Enablers like Usher, who lived with Diddy as a 13-year-old and witnessed unimaginable decadence, stayed and thrived within the same machine. This isn't just gossip. It's a deep dive into power, corruption, and the hidden costs of fame.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangsta in Houston.
Now Justin Bieber has unfollowed him. The same Justin who, at 15, spent 48 hours on a trip with Diddy so wild they couldn't reveal what happened. And the world laughed as Diddy smirked on TV, warning Justin not to speak of it. We laugh, we ignore red flags, we give Lamborghinis to stars while silencing victims. And where is Beyoncé in all this? The icon of female empowerment, the voice of a generation, performing at the Super Bowl while her husband's name gets tied to one of hip-hop's most horrifying lawsuits. Her silence is deafening, because this is no longer just infidelity, a pregnancy rumor, or a flirtatious glance. It's assault, trafficking, and a troubling pattern suggesting Jay-Z may be far worse than a cheater. Beyoncé isn't just his wife, she's his partner, his brand, his alibi, and when the world questions if she knew, looked the other way, or chose empire over truth, the silence raises the stakes. This isn't just about the Carters. It's an entire industry complicit. Managers, labels, stars who ignored misconduct, protecting men like Diddy and Jay-Z while women were dismissed as liars or gold diggers. Beyoncé, at the center, sings about girl power and strength, yet stayed beside a man allegedly at the heart of criminal activity, silent while lawsuits piled up and evidence mounted. So, when the legend isn't the truth, when kings aren't noble and queens aren't blameless, what do? Jay-Z faces reckoning. Beyoncé risks being seen as an accomplice by her silence, standing beside him as the world asks if empire was more important than justice. Behind every legend, the truth waits. And this story is far from over, with the next chapter promising to be messy, forcing us all to ask, would you stay to save the empire, or walk away and let it burn?